This is supposed to be an amazing match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Terran versus Protoss where we find ourselves on the map El Sayani. Now, spawning here in the top right hand corner, playing with the little polar bear on the main command center, you've probably already guessed that we are indeed looking inside of the main base of Clem. Clem is going to be playing in the blue today, his opponent in the opposite corner. A man I didn't feature on the channel, well, not until recently anyways. Before that, I didn't really feature him on the channel all too often, but over the last couple of months, he has really stepped it up. We're looking at none other than Harstem's main Nexus. And Harstem, of course, like Clem, an absolute channel favorite. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mean this with any disrespect whatsoever, but going into this particular match, I am definitely assuming that Clem is going to win. The fact of the matter is that Clem's Terran vs Protoss is ridiculously good, and on top of that, he's currently the highest ranked Terran in the world. Clem has been improving rapidly over the years to the point where right now he managed to overtake Maru for that #1 Terran position. So he is currently on a roll, and while Harstem certainly has been making improvements, can he really take on somebody of the likes of Clem? I guess we'll find out. Now, it's also pretty exciting, right? Because Harstem makes YouTube videos, and if he can get good at the game, does that mean that one day I will also be able to take it? No, no, probably not. No, I think that ship has sailed some time ago. I mean, I am 31 years old right now. That's, at the very least, when it comes to pro gamer age, that's basically boomer level, okay? That's when we start talking about the good old days. Back in my day, we had mothership cores, and our Reapers used to throw grenades by default whenever they hit structures, that sort of thing, right? Speaking of YouTubers, though, Winter, I believe, he's casted this particular game already, and he called this game I think he called it like, this is my favorite game of StarCraft 2 I've ever seen, or something along those lines. Now, obviously, he's a YouTuber, so yeah, he clickbaits his audience, right? I mean, I try to not do that all too much, but I'll be honest with you, I'm a little guilty of that too. I try to think of it more as like legit bait, I guess, as we do have, yeah, the bunker getting cancelled here. Not clickbait, but more or less legit bait. I've heard that term at some point, and I kind of liked it. I try to not clickbait all too much, but there's no denying that it's very effective. Either way, I guess that Winter calling this one of his favorite games he's seen is probably a decent indicator that this is going to be a good match of StarCraft. It was recently played during HomeStory Cup. Now, I was there, but I probably was playing poker. I played a lot of poker at the most recent HomeStory Cup. I had a great time. Don't get me wrong, I had a really good time. I may get into some details at a later moment, but anyhow, we've got ourselves a Stargate opener, and this was just confirmed as well by Mr. Clement. Will he be able to figure out if this is going to be an Oracle or, for example, a Phoenix start here? Well, he would have to get a follow-up scout in. For now, he's just throwing a couple of curveballs at his opponent. Yeah, a couple of skill checks here and there as well to make sure that Harstem is not going to play all too greedy. Okay, Reaper. Yeah, not really getting a whole lot of vision in, so he doesn't know exactly what he's playing against at the moment, although Harstem is thinking, okay, excellent scout here by Clem. Harstem is already going for a very, very fast third Nexus, and on top of that, Clem also sees that this is indeed going to be an Oracle start, followed up apparently with a Phoenix. Now, is there really something here that Clem can do about this? Alright, at the very least, the Pulsar Beam here will be activated at home, but with this greedy of a third Nexus, Harstem doesn't really need to deal a lot of damage on the other side of the map. His main objective right now is just survival. This is one of those starts right here for Clem, though, where, assuming he positions his army well, he shouldn't really be taking a lot of damage. So he's well prepared against Oracles, Phoenixes, whatever aggression the Protoss player is thinking about throwing at him, but he's not really set up for aggression himself just yet. He really needs that Stimpack upgrade, combat shields, and all the rest of it, and that's still a while away. That means that Harstem, for the foreseeable future, is going to be able to do whatever he likes. And apparently what he likes right now is making workers and getting that Twilight Council going. So we're going Phoenixes, I guess, into charge slots. That would make the most sense, but the first attack that will come out of the Terran is gonna hit like an absolute truck. So, +1 infantry weapons coming up. Stimpack, we'll see combat shields as well, I'm sure, in this particular tech lab here. There we go. All of these 3 upgrades for the Terran will finish up right around the same time. Reaper here, alright, on his last leg apparently, and his last legs were up in the air. He ended up getting killed right there by those Protoss units. Alright, so the big question is, can Harstem defend against this big attack that will be marching through the center of the map here momentarily? He's going double forge, he's indeed going charge, And he's going for the armor upgrade for his ground units first. So he's really looking to just simply defend what his opponent is going to go for. Already though, he's up to 55 workers, and with triple Nexus and with triple Chrono Boost, he can really start building up that economy. You can see some peaks and valleys here in the income advantage tab. That's basically whenever the mules are mining. Whenever the mules hit the mineral line, suddenly, yeah, there's a bit of a peak right there for the Terran, in case you're wondering why it looks like a roller coaster. Anyways, 1-1 coming up, and now the gateway explosion. Pylon over here at the bottom of the map as well. Lovely stuff. This is basically here just to see any incoming medevacts. But for now, this is a pretty tame start here for the Terran, yeah. Not really setting himself up for a lot of early game aggression. And now finally is when that third command center starts up. So Clem needs to get something done with his units here momentarily, because he needs to equalize this. Right? If you just sit back here and, yeah, you're a full base behind on your opponent, you will simply get outmined over the course of the game. Harstem is already going to go for a fourth base. Look at that. I love the confidence here. I'd be scared to plant down this fourth base right now. I'm sure he's done the math, right? He must have tried it out in many different games, because this is not a necessarily uncommon position. This is something that Protoss players play against frequently, but this does feel like a pretty greedy fourth Nexus to me. That being said, though, he's not actually getting a lot of gases, so he's only going for, yeah, 1 gas on both of his expansions so far. So that should allow him at the very least to make a lot of gateway units. We're currently up to 8 gateways, and yeah, he should be able to warp in quite a bit of stuff. Now here comes Clem, finishing up all of his upgrades. Gonna march here on the left side of the map as well. He's a little concerned of maybe like a prism flying in or something holding him back. He's actually playing this more passively than I anticipated him to. Yeah, now we finally have additional barracks coming up. 3rd CC is basically done. Alright, he apparently wanted to wait for another round of units. Now, does he have enough stuff to overwhelm the Protoss? Adept here will sacrifice itself for the greater good. Revelation has already shown us exactly, though, what's going on. And yeah, these Phoenixes, they're fast enough to deal some damage here, maybe pick up a couple reinforcements, and then still be home in time as well for the defense. That stasis ward over there is actually an uncharacteristic mistake from Clem. It's quite common for Terrans to lead the charge with a single Marine, just to be able to pick up a couple of those, yeah, stasis wards in case they were planted down. But it does not seem to be the case. Units here everywhere on the right side of the map too. Units everywhere on the left side. So Harstem knows exactly what's going on. He's controlling the attack path too. Question is, does he have enough? Because this is a scary Terran army. We're talking 96 army supply in total for the Terran versus 77 for the Protoss. Good set of force fields. Okay, there's Widow Mines dealing a bunch of friendly fire too. Not a bad start to that fight. There's a lot more Zealots actually now going in for the counterattack, or maybe the sandwich, whatever he likes. I think a sandwich makes a lot of sense, although it is a literal minefield out here. Good splits. Stimpack has been activated right now on these Terran units, and Harstem decides to run away. 4th Nexus in the meantime, by the way, happily mining. Now finally the 3rd command center lands. +2/+2, researching already here for Harstem. And he is just not really taking... Okay, finally he takes a bit of a fight, but this is only against a small chunk of the Terran units. He's not really taking a lot of engagement. In the meantime, okay, while those, yeah, Terran reinforcements are distracted, the Dutchman apparently decides to charge down the ramp as well, sacrifices a bunch of his zealots, and ultimately, this is a hold. Alright, 3rd command center is done. Yep, I was gonna say, it's about time we go into that Ghost Academy. The first attack has happened, didn't really... yeah, get a whole lot done. I mean, it wasn't horrible for the Terran either, but this is not really that situation that Clem likes to be in. I see Clem winning a lot of games when he gets that tempo advantage, right? In my mind, at the very least, Clem is a very tempo-based player, meaning that he deals a bit of damage with his first push, and then the drop that follows up deals a little bit more damage, and then he starts multitasking, he hits you at 7 different angles at once, and then suddenly you find yourself with a massive deficit, and we look at the supply count, and suddenly Clem is like a 50 supply lead, and you're like, where did it even come from? That's usually the way that Clem likes to play, and this is by no means a bad spot for the Terran, but I'm not really in love with it. His upgrades are very slow. 3-3 has already begun right here for Harstem. His supply count is obviously not as big here as the Terrans, but that's natural. Like, that is basically what happens when you play this style. Once 3-3 finishes, I mean, he's gonna get 3-3 done before Terran's gonna finish 2-2. That's absolutely massive. Do we even have an armory at this point? I don't see it, so that means that either I'm blind, I'm known to miss things, though, that are in the middle of my screen. No, I don't see it. So, yeah, Clem is definitely not going to be able to get a 2-2 upgrade started until, well, he gets at the very least an armory. He's very slow on upgrades. There we go, finally. We have a second NG bay. We've got ourselves an armory, too. Okay, so another Nexus begins right here for Harstem. He's got good vision over here. He sees the move out in the bottom right-hand corner. He should be able to clean those units up with relative ease. I would like to see him maybe mine out those mineral fields to get on over in this direction a little bit quicker. Okay, Zealot run by over here does get picked up. And basically what Clem is doing is just making a death ball, right? Like, maybe he doesn't have the best upgraded units. He doesn't have the highest tier units. There's no Liberators. Maybe a Ghost or two. Yeah, there's 4 of them in total. Fair enough. But this is not really that high-tech of a Terran army, but it's a lot of stuff. Okay, so Clem is maxed out. Problem is, in about half a minute or so from now, maybe 45 seconds, depending on chrono boosts, Harstem is gonna heavily be able to out-upgrade his opponent, and his units are gonna hit like a truck, unless he decides to attack here. I don't think he should really be attacking here. Yeah, that's way too much Terran. Okay. Ooh, good set of force fields. Oh, that was actually very pretty. A little bit of overlap over here, I guess, but that could go horribly wrong. Okay. So, golden minerals will soon be mined. Photon cannons coming up. Terran, in the meantime, securing that base over on the left, and he's gonna go for a 5th command center himself as well. Alright, Phoenixes are starting to drop, but here's the +3/+3. Here's the extended thermal lens finishing up as well. Blink starts up. Yeah, Harstem is well prepared for a fight. I think he should take this. Yeah, difficult to know, but he's got everything done right now. Second Terran army, though, coming in for the flank on the left. Is there enough for the Terran to push through all of this? This is a very well upgraded army. All of the Zealots actually are gone at this point. Yeah, we have a Zealot-based unit composition, but without Zealots, which is an interesting situation to be in. But look at how much damage these Protoss units are dealing. I can't emphasize enough how big upgrades are in StarCraft 2. Like, it's one of those things that I can tell you that it's big, right? I can tell you, well, I can tell you that I can tell you about many things. Anyways, I can tell you that these upgrades are important, but it's really hard to visualize it. Like, +3/+3 versus +1/+1 is a massive advantage. Now, can Harstem capitalize on this? I think he's got a chance. He's got 1,300 minerals in the bank. Big Zealot warp in and then an attack. I would not mind that whatsoever. We don't actually have enough gateways to properly support this. I think this is the time to emphasize the upgrade lead, Harstem. We should go. Yeah. He decides to play this a little bit slower than I would like to see him do. He decides to go for the robo facility over here. Like, I would love to see a frontal attack over here and then maybe a prism coming in for the side or a warp in over here or in the main base, right? Like, I'm always thinking, what would MaxSpecs be doing? Well, I can guarantee you that MaxSpecs would have a prism flying around a lot more aggressively than this one right over here. It's not necessarily wrong what Harstem is doing. It's just that he's giving Clem a lot of wiggle room to catch up in those upgrades. Because now Terran is gonna, yeah, at the very least get, well, a bunch of upgrades finished over here. We can go for the gravitic drive upgrade. We can make a scary death ball ourselves, but I kind of feel like we could have done something a little bit more. Okay. That's the Observer gone. That's a Viking gone as well. Oracle here flying around. Yeah. So, +2 has already started up here for the air units. Maybe the ground units aren't very quick with their upgrades, but the air units are getting them quite rapidly. Now we finally have a Zealot warp in the main base. Love to see it. Maybe this is going to open up an opportunity. Liberator indeed ends up going down. More and more libs are coming. It looks like at least the command center dies. Fair enough. Difficult to push up this ramp though here for Harstem. Good movement here by Clem. Looks like his reinforcing bio army is going to be able to make short work of those Zealots in the main base. Prism actually managed to stay alive. Yeah, so I guess with the Colossi stepping forward, Clem was like, yo, I need to bring my Vikings back home. He did not actually end up sniping that Prism here. Interesting situation. Currently, the top left-hand corner of this map is completely unscouted here by Harstem. He sees a sensor tower, so that may very well make his heart sink a little bit, because that's that moment where you don't quite realize that your opponent has an entire extra base. Like, you don't usually start a base with a sensor tower, right? Like, you saturate it and then eventually you make one. So if you see the sensor tower circle pop up on the minimap, you know that life is gonna be a little bit tricky. Okay, he does at least deny the infantry armor level 3. That's actually a big kill right there for our Protoss, but I don't really enjoy this passivity here as much. No. Then again, though, this is not a Protoss army based around like 90 plus workers, right? He's trying to go for that higher tier army here instead. Colossi are starting to fall. Ooh, okay. The little bit of terrain over here really hurting Harstem as well. Nice catch right here by Clem. Force fields are going to force the Terran to disengage for now, but not without getting another Colossus. Maybe even the last Colossus? Yeah, now the force fields have already run out, so we're actually going to push forward. Excellent control here by Clem. Lovely work. Clem is so dangerous, man. Zealot once again, though, going to town in the main base. Love to see that. I do believe that the Prism eventually got sniped, but now suddenly that Terran army is looking very big. Properly upgraded as well. He's making a transition. Oh my god! Okay. Well, you can't hope for much more than that. 15 kills on the Disruptor. That's gonna get that Terran player off Harstem's back. And you know what? That was enabled by those Zealots. So the Zealots, yeah, distracting the Terran right there in their main base. It allowed that Disruptor to get a lot of damage done. Believe it or not, pro gamers, they only have one monitor. Yeah, they only have one monitor, one mouse and keyboard. I know. I know that Harstem at some point, I think it was Harstem anyways. Maybe I'm getting this wrong, but I know that I think it was Harstem. I'm gonna say it's Harstem. I know that a pro gamer at the very least at some point in a tournament requested to play with a foot pedal. It was a Protoss player because I specifically remembered them asking about being able to use a foot pedal as a hotkey to bind their prism to, which I thought was very clever. So rather than having to reach to like hotkey number 8, you can use your foot pedal to quickly jump to... It's kind of clever, but apparently it wasn't allowed. I think the tournament admins were like, yo, what's going on here? Can he get the kill on this command center over here? This is scary. I don't think so. No, it looks like both of the CCs actually live. Disruptors ended up going down there as well. This Terran army here is gonna get stronger though. That's my main concern here for Harstem. He is kind of stuck on this unit composition of his. There's no Tempest transition or anything like that here on the horizon. We have 5 Liberators with advanced ballistics here coming up. That's the Liberator ranged upgrade. And Liberators with range are amazing when it comes to controlling ground-based armies. Now look once again though at this massive Zealot run by. How many Zealots have we already had in this game? I'm gonna say 234. 122 have died. Okay, I'm way off. I feel like I've seen so many Zealots around the map, but I guess Harstem has been doing a good job keeping all of them alive. Yeah, so they can re-engage again for more a little bit later. Ooh, Disruptors here. Yeah, not in the best of spots. At least one of them ended up getting a decent hit in. Another one here coming in from the left. Looks like all of them will end up going down. In the meantime, the Protoss here has killed one of the command centers, but you know what? This guy apparently does not mourn the loss of a friend. Instead, he's going to be setting himself up for success on that mineral line. Okay, more aggression over here as well. Zealot run by, trying to get some work done. Clem microing against that too. That's one of the big changes, actually, in Protoss over the last year or so. Protoss players, right? And I don't want to throw any shade here, but for the longest time, what they would do is warp in a big round of Zealots just like this, attack move them over here, hands off the keyboard, never look at those units ever again. They would just attack move them on the mini-map and then never pay attention to those units. Turns out that was suboptimal play. Who would have guessed? Anyways, they've gotten a lot better though at keeping those Zealots alive and constantly sending them around the map. Finally, by the way, +3/+3. This is exceptionally late right here for Clem. Really don't love it. I actually thought he had already finished +3 infantry attacks. We saw him losing the +3 armor, but he must have not restarted it, or maybe he lost the other upgrade too. I'm not exactly sure. Either way, these bio units are not as strong as they could be. Another, Zealot Stalker attack over here. Liberators have been tasked with killing the Zealots, but when the Stalkers join in, this is so good though. Lovely play here by Harstem. Look at the amount of gas that he has though. He's not set up for a Tempest transition or a Carrier transition or any sort of Skytles whatsoever. We're basically planning on winning this game with Stalkers and Zealots and Disruptors primarily, which can work out. It's just that if Clem manages to get a good army in a good position, like for example right here, it is gonna be hell to try and break this. Planetary Fortress here, reinforcing units, okay. Are gonna be able to take care of that Stalker Zealot Bull as well. And now suddenly, Clem is creating a chokehold on this base. Love that Liberator zoning here. He's positioning them like they're siege tanks, you know, like leapfrogging them forward. Aggressive blink as well. Is there enough here for the Protoss player to break through all of this? I think there might just be. This is definitely a risky fight though. Okay, he lifts up all of those biological units as he's trying to get out of here. You know what? That was a really good cleanup. In the meantime, one of the Disruptor Bulls flies through his own Stalkers, and he does manage to push this back. Good engagement there, once again by Harstem. Fantastic fight. I did not think that that was going to go so well, but he looked at those Liberators, he's like, yo, most of you guys are turned that way. I guess I can zone you out in that direction then instead. We have a Void Ray coming up. I guess that's mostly just to control this little bit of airspace. And Clem's supply count just absolutely plummeted. This is really the first time in his game that Harstem gets an excessive lead here. 200 supply versus 153 with a significant bank advantage as well. All right. Next objective, win the game. Easier said than done though. Terrans have gotten very good over the years at positioning their structures in such a way that they're difficult to break. Sounds like a basic skill, but this has taken about, well, I would say probably about 1 million games for Terran players to figure out. Collectively, you know what I mean? There's been a lot of pro games that have been played over the years in StarCraft 2, and a lot of games needed to be lost to figure out exactly how you want to be putting up your infrastructure. Looks like these Novas are not achieving all too much. SCVs going, okay, very ambitiously in this direction. Looks like another command center is gonna bite the dust. Excellent stuff here. Beautiful game by Harstem. I didn't love the passivity when he first finished up his 3-3 research, but he is absolutely, yeah, smashing it now. That's another command center that will go down. He needs to be careful though, because these are pretty expensive Protoss units. Okay, Clem once again moving forward. I think you want to back off here for a little bit. Give him that base. 23 SCVs, by the way, have gone down in total as well. Another big Zealot warp in over here. Okay, 69 workers in total. Nice. Or I mean, nice! Sorry. I don't make use of my audio interface that much. It does all kinds of fancy tools, like,
for example, this, but
I don't really use a lot of those. That was my real voice, by the way. I don't, yeah, no, this is me tuning my voice down. Anyways, we do have a big fight happening once again in the middle of the map. Clem is making his army look so much bigger than it really is. This is everything he's got, but he's maneuvering around the map in such a way that it's very difficult for Protoss to figure out exactly how much there is out there. Yeah, and this Bio Bull is dangerous still. It's now fully upgraded, and you can really tell that suddenly, right? The skills are not looking as nicely in favor of the Protoss in these big engagements. Like the Zealots charging at these Marines and Marauders, it just doesn't pack quite the punch. Like I told you earlier, it's big. Anyways, Liberators coming up in big numbers still as well. We have a Dark Templar potential at least. Yeah, there is already one going to town. Every scan at this point is quite precious. It's not like there's a lot of orbital commands available. There's only 3. Very little mining here at the minute here for Clem. I think Harstem can take a bit of a chill here though. I don't think he really needs to... I don't think he needs to be too aggressive. He's heavily outmining his opponent at the moment. Well, maybe not heavily. But he's outmining his opponent at the moment for sure. Clem really only has one proper mining base. This one will be run. No, he's got like... No, this actually has more in it than I imagined it would be. Okay, yeah, maybe being aggressive is not a bad call. Looks like these probes are gonna find death if they don't get recalled. I would love to see a Mama ship at this point. Although I would love to see a Mama ship at any point in the game. Don't get me wrong. Nice catch right here by Clem. Going after the probes, really hurting his opponent. In the meantime, can he keep this base alive? Because that's a lot of supply dedicated to, well, killing out those probes and going after that base. Hello, Zealots? Ooh. A lot of move commanding going on right here for Harstem. Maybe messing up his units right there for just a moment. Clem once again, by the way, now finds himself at a supply lead. Where does he get his money from? Mules. Liberators are Yeah, growing once more again in numbers. We have already 5 available, 6 on the production tab. Okay. Good recovery here, actually, from Clem. Just a few minutes ago, he was 50 supply behind, and now suddenly, yeah. This is looking a lot more manageable. Not really one big engagement, I don't think, unless I missed it. I highly doubt it. It's just been Clem chipping away at his opponent's army over the course of the last couple of minutes. Now fighting his opponent through all of these choke points, even though he's going up against a lot of splash damage. Harstem just bowling his units backwards, but he's only got 1 Colossus, so on the retreat, it's not like he's dealing that much damage. Clem right now on the hunt, though. He wants to kill this army, pushing it all the way from right over here to the left side of the map. Okay. Dark Templar is gonna try and confirm whether or not this base was taken, or at the very least he's gonna see what's happening. Yep, this base has not been reacquired. Golden minerals have disappeared, so that expansion is irrelevant. Clem is gonna try and make a move for the 9 o'clock base. Harstem cannot actually afford losing this expansion. Can he fight this army? I believe so. Yeah, he should be okay. That's quite a few liberators, but not that many, and they are indeed gonna get killed. A lot of zealots actually waiting here on the left. They should have definitely moved in as well at the same time as that Stalker Ball. Command center here has landed. This scouting assimilator sees exactly what's going on. We're at 211 zealots right now. That is a lot. How many Marines? 144. Yeah, that's kind of nuts. Zealots are twice as expensive as a Marine. I would also say they're twice as bad as a Marine overall, but that's a discussion for another time. Yeah, these are the type of games where you kind of wish for Protoss at least that they had 4-4 upgrades that they could get, you know? Because ever since Clem has managed to even up the upgrades, life has gotten so much better here for the French Terran. Wonderful work here, of course, by Clem. Staying alive in a very dangerous game. Oh, he accidentally targeted one of his own liberators there. I don't think you can really fight through this. Yeah, the Colossi shooting some distance though. We're shooting some lasers here from a distance. Not a bad call. Okay, lovely work. Liberators. Very low in hit points, but this is a scary choke point. Yeah, Terran once again now chasing down his army. I wonder if Harstem should stand and fight here, but how many zealots does he truly have? There may still be some on the left side of the map as well, or just hiding off in a corner. Once again, retreating bowling balls here. Some lasers being thrown from a distance. Only 1 Colossus with very low hit points remain. Clem once again manages to push this back. Command center over here on the right side though did end up getting killed. Maybe there was no zealots on the left side of the map, but they were, however, on the right. Okay. This expansion now truly though is running low. Golden minerals, they've been denied repeatedly. 75-79. Look at the amount of worker kills in total in this game. Really sick. So this is really, together with this base up here, yeah, the only real untouched bases so far. I mean, there's been a bit of mining over here, a bit of mining over there, but not that much. One cheeky Widow mine? Okay. Super annoying. Super annoying. That's gonna fire repeatedly. In the meantime, of course, these guys are still battling it out in the middle of the map. This is still 1 disruptor hit away from being an absolute disaster here for Clem. But he's been doing an excellent job, constantly dodging them. Like, you start taking it for granted, right, when you watch high-level Terran gameplay, but then you look at, like, I don't know, your average run-of-the-mill Grandmaster. Your average run-of-the-mill Grandmaster, aka the top 200 players, they lose against singular disruptor hits all the time. Okay, once again, Clem on the prowl. He wants to see if he can hunt down this army, but I'm not too impressed by this particular Terran force right now. Zealots, though, trying to get some damage done. Stalkers moving forward. Nice retreat right there by the Terran. There's a lot of Terran army over here, too. Oh, that's the Vikings. Okay, since they no longer have any Colossi to deal with, apparently they've been tasked with dealing damage right here to the structures. And you know what? They deal bonus damage against mechanical as Harstem does decide to jump the planetary fortress. He gets the kill on it, but all of the disruptors are so exposed. I think he just lost all but one. Yeah, only a single disruptor remains, and that is a very expensive loss right there for the Dutchman. He's gonna have to instantly rebuild it. At the same time, he's losing this expansion in the top left. He decided to jump the planetary fortress because in his mind, I guess that was the only mining that was still really going on for Clem. And he may have been onto something there, but that was really expensive. This would have been amazing if that base was still up, though. And if he wouldn't have lost all of those disruptors. Luckily, we do have mass robos. So 4 disruptors are coming up all at the same time. This is actually a nail-biter of a game. Yeah, a lot more resources lost on the side of our Terran? Or, sorry, on the side of our Protoss, rather. But he's also been mining less throughout this game. Clem has got another orbital command, though, that's going to take the place of that planetary fortress. When we look at the... Yeah, this is the problem, right? Yeah, he killed the planetary, but that's also the moment where he lost so much of his army supply. Who's ahead economically at the moment? Well, still our Protoss, but by a very, very slim margin, it seems. He's looking for another big disruptor hit. Okay. 1 Marauder, 2 Marauders at a time is not gonna cut it. 1 Marine at a time definitely won't cut it, especially if it's gonna cost you a disruptor. Okay, this is the moment apparently. Yeah, he's thinking about making a stand, Harstem that is, but Clem is moving forward as well. Really lovely decision making here by the French Terran. Amazing control as well, right, coming out of him. Like, other than that one big disruptor nova, I don't think he's really lost that much to the disruptors. We've had 30 dead disruptors in this game. Ay, 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 ay. Over 250 zealots now in this match as well. Okay, 1 Liberator, dealing quite a bit of damage. EMP going down as well. Those EMPs have been fantastic too. I've not really been highlighting them all too much. Liberators together with Vikings here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. I think they've taken care of that Void Ray that was patrolling over there in the past. Those Vikings apparently found another job after killing a Nexus and also killing a Colossus. They now managed to snipe one of those Void Rays. Super annoying because that was essentially, yeah, really the only mining other than this for Mr. Harstem. Golden minerals, though, not really mining that much. He's long-distance mining this base over here, and a hero, Dark Templar. 9 confirmed kills. Both players are broke. Okay, Purification Novas once again moving forward. 2 Disruptors, it seems, also have gone down. Another EMP, though, reveals a bunch of DTs, as well as softens up those Zealots. Okay. Good bit of damage, though. Good bit of damage done by that 1 DT. Oh my god, beautiful pickup right there, although he does blink forward, gets one of the Metavex, but I don't think it was the one with the ghosts in it. Looks like this Stalker at the very least managed to get rid of that Liberator harassment, so maybe those probes can go back to work, but that's 15 workers for 1 mineral field. Not quite optimal. Do we still have a command center to fly, Clem? I think it's about time we move on over towards the, yeah, what is this, like the 4 o'clock position on the map? Excellent splits here once again by our Terran. A lot of Vikings actually still around. Wow, this Terran army is looking very scary right now. There's not that much available overall, but those Vikings really put in so much work. Although that Purification Nova was pretty good, but this is the last, I think, of the Protoss army. Only Disruptors remain against a very well-rounded Terran unit composition. And what seemed to be an uphill battle until the very end turns out to be a Terran win. Amazingly played right here by Clem.